I was just really pushing through. I was on the edge of burnout, going to work just stressed. I wasn't sleeping. I would often go to work and just cry and just I was exhausted. And I just remember thinking that there just has to be something more for me out there, just something where I could really...
Welcome to the Ill Noise Business Playbook. We sit down with people building real impact in their communities and unpack the vision behind their work. If you care about real stories and real connection, you're in the right place. Let's make some noise. Hey, welcome to the Ill Noise Business Playbook. I am here with Kim from Holistic Wellness by Design. Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you being on the show. I know from myself and my wife, we certainly prioritize family, and we love. I love the fact that I'm just a couple towns over from my brother, and not too far away from my mother, and her folks are not too far away, a little farther than I would like. But we certainly love family. Family is very important to us, and I'm very well aware that it is very important to you as well. Is that correct?
Yes. I come from a big family.
Okay.
We all live pretty close to each other, and I have 3 adult young children of my own. So it's very important to me.
It's beautiful too, and we have had somebody on the show that shares this, and then a good friend of mine also is not just one of a kind, but one of two kinds. But your kids, you've got some twins there as well, correct?
I do. Yes. Yeah. So I have a son who's 26 years old, and then I have twin girls that are 23.
Oh, are they identical? Or are they fraternal?
I'm not too sure. They're very similar, and we
Okay.
never had them tested.
Okay.
A lot of people get them confused, so they look a
Gotcha.
lot alike.
My friend in college, him and his twin brother pulled a trick on me. One of them left, and then literally 2 seconds they walked back in, and I'm like, "What the heck's going on?" And then that was the time I found out they were a twin. But I bet your daughters could have had some fun along the way.
Yeah.
Definitely want to talk about your business, but I know that prioritizing kind of getting out there in the community is important for us, and it seems like it's important to you. And the reason I will go ahead and pull the curtain back here, I actually picked up my wife after she spent a little time out in the community, and she was bragging the whole time back that she was spending a lot of time bending someone's ear who I'm looking at right now.
Yes.
Talk just really quick about that event, and then also how you prioritize that in order to kind of get the word out.
Sure. Yeah. So, your wife Neha invited me to the event. It's through the Lake in the Hills and Algonquin Chamber of Commerce, Women
Yes.
on the Move, I believe, or Women on the Go.
Okay.
And we met at an event today at P-Volve in Algonquin, and we enjoyed some really delicious lunch. I think it was
Nice.
duck on a diet.
Duck
It
and
was really
diet,
nice.
yes.
Yeah, it was really nice to get out there. The food was delicious.
Love it.
Yeah.
Duck and Diet's been on our show. Andres has been somebody that's been very special to us. So I'm glad you got to experience this food. I tell you, if you want to eat something and not regret it and not feel bad about it, then his food is definitely a good fit for everybody. Let's talk about what you're doing. In my previous iteration, I worked in a corporation. I direct sales teams, and my teams were always doing functionalities with health coverage and with people that are in the health industry. I worked for educational institutions, but we would help some folks become like, I don't know, RNs and BSNs. And I know that that's part of your past. So regarding Holistic Wellness by Design, what was it that made you sort of make that change to do what you're doing now from when you're doing more traditional medicine and being a nurse out there in the field?
Right. So primarily, I've been a dialysis nurse, teaching
Okay.
patients to do dialysis in their home and just monitoring all of their care, helping them along their way in their journey. Worked very hard through the pandemic, which was very stressful. All of the mandates and everything. And I would have to say that in 2023, I was just really pushing through. I was on the edge of burnout, going to work just stressed. I wasn't sleeping. I would often go to work and just cry and just I was exhausted. And I just remember thinking that there just has to be something more for me out there, just something where I could really focus on my own self-care and just not to give too much of myself and burn myself out. So I came across the Integrative Nurse Coach Academy, where I took a certification course
Nice.
in nurse coaching, learning self-care, self-awareness, different mindfulness practices. And then from there, I took some more courses on functional medicine for nurses, where I learned a lot of root cause for people's illnesses and, what they're maybe going through, different diagnoses. And that's just where I decided that I wanted to pull away a little bit from full-time dialysis world and really just focus on something that's going to help women just like me balance their hormones, prioritize their health.
And your demographic is typically women that are 30 plus. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And so when did that switch come? How long have you been running? How long have you been running this business? How long have you been helping these young ladies, and a little bit older than younger ladies? But I was taught by some really strong women in my life. So let's just say they're young and younger and youngest women that you've been dealing with. But when did you decide, let's put everything we have into this?
Yeah, so I would say that was in 2023 when I started the nurse coaching,
Okay.
learning more about that. I did work with other ladies, just to get the hours in that I needed for the the experience for the certification, and then I didn't really know how to set up a business. I did take a business course. It was the business of nurse coaching, and that was a 12-week program where it kind of showed us how to set up everything, get the LLC started, all of the legal stuff for the business.
Sure.
And that I believe I established the business in August of 2024. It's
Okay.
been a little slow going because I'm still working 3 days a week at my dialysis job until the business, starts
Really?
to grow a little more.
Absolutely. Boy, so you're really juggling a lot of hats right now.
I am. I am, but I enjoy it.
But you're taking care of yourself throughout the process, I assume.
Yes, yes. I learned a lot of just that learning that self-awareness and recognizing when I'm pushing myself a little too far, just to kind of take a step back and, maybe do a little breath work and just knowing how to be a little bit more mindful, prioritizing sleep and making sure that I'm eating right.
That's been a game changer for me. I've had sleeping issues my entire life, and I was able to finally find something that's sort of been very helpful because of my wife. She's inspired me to go seek some medical attention to see if I can kind of rectify my issues. And it's been for so long, I thought that because I was in the corp world and I was traveling all the time, and I just thought that nobody slept, because I
Yeah.
was in hotels and stuff. And boy, it's been a game changer. So I can tell you that if you can get the proper sleep at the very least, that's a nice first step to things. Being in the medical field, boy, my wife and I have experiences from the patient side, not from the other side. I had a right hip replacement at 17 years old. So I've been very early on, but also I will tell you, Kim, that and I'm no longer 17 years old. I'm much older now, but I can still remember some of the wonderful people, the wonderful nurses and doctors, so helpful during that time. But it takes a special person to want to care for someone else. Now, you're a mother and you feel so strongly about your family. So I know that's innate within you. But when did you sort of just decide in general that being in the medical field and helping others was what was going to be to lead you to satisfaction, to lead you to happiness?
Wow. So I knew that I always wanted to be a mom. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. I'm the oldest of six.
Wow.
So I knew that for sure. But I would say that when my daughters were 5 years old and they were in all-day kindergarten was when I really decided that I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. With my life. So that's when I signed up to go to nursing school. During that time, I was also navigating through my own hormonal issues and some personal struggles that I had. I had endometriosis that was inoperable. So that was just kind of getting through each day in a lot of pain. And I suffered with that for 10 years. I would say just everything that I've been through in life, seeing my family members go through different things, cancers, heart disease, and just really wanting to help them. I really think that that's where I really started wanting to be a nurse, is just to help others.
It's beautiful, Kim. It really is. We need more people like you in the world. I can tell you that for sure. Tell us about holistic wellness. So if there's somebody that sort of fits that demographic that is seeking your help, like what do you do to help provide them with alternative methods to kind of help them be able to manage some of the issues that they have?
So everything is individualized. Just really, I provide a safe place for women just to come to me, open up, talk about what's on their mind. And if there's anything that they're willing to change, then we focus on that. We partner together to make SMART goals that are achievable for them.
Sure.
And, not everybody meets those goals, but we still celebrate the wins. And, everyone's different. So there's really not that cookie cutter, approach to this type of coaching. Yeah. So we work on mindfulness, listen to their story, and really just kind of help them to explore like the root causes of what may be causing, their problems, whether it's, weight gain or hormone imbalances, different things like that.
So, what you've been doing this for a little while. What do you wish you knew when you started this? What do you wish that you know now that you wish you would have known when you started this whole business up, Kim?
I guess I guess one thing that I wish I knew then was that I have everything that I need. I have all the tools in my toolbox. I just need to be confident in the fact that, when I get out there and I start meeting people, the people that need my help will, they'll be there and they'll come.
It's beautiful. It's
Don't have to
beautiful.
try so hard, I guess.
How are you? We're always all hard on ourselves because everybody wants everything to happen right away. And I think we all know everything's sort of a process. So it's been really fun watching this channel continue to expand and to be able to reach out to folks and be able to tell stories like yours, Kim. It's been, Neha and I have learned a lot of stuff along the way. I could tell you that for sure. But we're continuing to learn, as I think we all should be doing. You talked about getting the word out. And I know one great example of getting the word out is, I don't know, to go to a women's networking event at a fitness facility. And looks like you guys were doing a little exercising. And then Andres was able to provide you with some food. But what other ways are you putting into place to kind of really get the word out as far as all the beautiful things that you're doing with Holistic Wellness by Design?
I've learned just to kind of be out there on a presence with social media. On Facebook and Instagram. I'm just posting, interacting with people. Neha has brought some people my way. I met Dr. Liang, and also I met with Renee for a coffee one morning. So that's great. Yeah.
It is great. And Neha's really trying to be a little bit more intentional with that. And I think that's really wonderful. Those two individuals that you've met, we've seen them we've seen them in person. We've spent some time with them. And both of those women are really strong, powerful, loving people that are really trying to do good in the world. So I'm glad that you, doing what you're doing, are mixing with them.
Yeah.
I think that's really great. How do you continue to stay up to date with what's happening in your field? Like, I know you said already that you had some certifications that you needed to complete. You had some education that you need to do. Of course, that's not including the other formalized education you were doing in order to become a nurse in general. But how do you continue to kind of stay ahead of the curve when it comes to what's happening in your industry?
So I'm a lifelong learner. My husband tells me that I must be a lifelong student because I'm always signing up for new courses and learning new things. Currently, I'm in the Institute for Functional Nurses program, which is a 2-semester program, and it's a lot more in-depth, just ways, it's more advanced of how to really apply functional medicine to my practice with helping people. So I'm always learning more.
And has there been some pretty significant changes in the field since you have started to begin this endeavor? I would assume that, we're always, especially in the medical field, you're just always gathering more information, more information, more information. And I always think it's for myself, I like to take advice from people that are in the medical field. I can tell you when we had a certain thing happen 5-6 years ago when we were shut down, it was very interesting seeing people I went to school with that were getting, C's and D's in class give me their theories as far as what was happening. And I always just said, let's trust the science, let's listen to the medical personnel. But how has that worked with you with making sure that you really continue to stay up to date with stuff?
Just working and staying on top of the research, evidence-based practice has really helped me, I guess, looking up things and learning new things all the time.
How is this balancing act doing? You say you're still working a couple days a week and you're still trying to get this up and running and get it to where it needs to be. How are you? One of the biggest problems people have in general is time management, and that's everybody. And I think we always have to really prioritize things in order to manage our time effectively. But how are you able to do so? I know your kids are a little bit up there in age now, so that's probably a little bit easier for you. But you still got two hands that are juggling things. How's that working out for you?
It's working out pretty good. I actually have the flexibility at my other job to set my hours. If I need, to focus a little bit more on my business, I'm able to do that as well. If I have appointments to, schedule, I can do that and just work around it. I've found all through the years that the busier I am, the more organized that I am. I don't know how that works out, but I'm able to manage all of that.
I've always been like that too. Whenever I've been pressured or whenever I'm under the gun to get something done, it's like I just kind of rise up and I'm like, okay, I guess this is time to do it. Let's get things done. It's not always the case. I could tell you some people really kind of get really scared when they have to deal with a bunch of different things. When people meet with you, where do they go to spend some time with you and to kind of learn and for you to learn what their ailments are?
Right now I'm working virtually, but I
Okay.
have met some people just, at public places just to kind of talk and get to know them a little bit better. But primarily right now it's just virtual phone calls through Zoom.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And how are you getting the word out? Is it other than social media? Are you going to different events like you did today with Neha? Are you part of any chambers or attending ribbon cuttings or happy hours, networking events, or anything like that?
No, not yet, but I'd like to put that on my planner just to get out there and do a little bit more. So I've kind of been feeling I've been going at this alone. So it's really nice to actually get out there and meet other people and talk with them and kind of helping to push me to go forward.
Who's been some of your biggest support individuals in your life that are cheerleading you on? I'm sure you've sort of referenced some of them, but I'd still love to hear for the audience to hear some of that stuff. Who's been most proud of seeing and you continue to soar?
My family is all my mom, my grandma, sisters, brothers. My husband's a very big supporter. So it's great to have
That's beautiful.
such a big family.
You said you're one of six. You said you're the oldest of six?
Yes, yes.
Woo.
Three
Wow.
boys
Wow.
and
Wow.
three girls.
Okay. What was that like? That's not everybody's got so many siblings. What was that like growing up with all those kids around?
It was nice. I was always the mom to them. Yeah, they think I'm a little bossy. I don't know that I'm so bossy, but I just kind of shelter them a little bit and took care of them. So my youngest sister is 18 years younger than me. So it was
My gosh.
yeah, yeah.
Holy,
We're all very close.
that's beautiful. Do they live close to you at all? Do they live anywhere near the area?
About, I have a brother who lives in Crystal Lake. The rest of the family is pretty much up in McHenry. So yeah, we're all within, 30 minutes of each other.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Now, as you've been doing this, when did it become real that you were actually like when you started this concept of thinking you wanted to go this route? I know you told me the year, but when did it really kick in that? I mean, basically what you did is you came up with the concept of a business. Then you started applying the principles to start the business. Then now you're in the mix of things. When did you just kind of sit back and say to yourself, I think this is going to work. I think this is actually something that's going to really, help revolutionize things and really help people out there in the world.
I would say when you just making those connections with other women and just listening to them, helping them along their journey, that's really helped just to kind of keep me going and just, wow, like I'm actually doing this. I'm helping people. I'm preventing further illness and problems for them. So yeah.
It's beautiful. I tell you, again, the world needs more people like you, Kim, that
Thank
just want to help people out, and I know I can't speak for it firsthand because I'm a gentleman, but I know a lot of women really kind of need the support that you're providing. And I think that's really honorable that you've decided to do so. Be a little easier just to say, hey, I'm just going to stick in this lane over here. And the fact that you're really trying to open things up and develop yourself, I think that's really honorable. So very, very
you
cool
so
stuff.
much.
When you are helping folks out, I think that when I was out there in the world and I was helping my team out, I would always tell them because they were kind of doing something that was a sales function, right? So when in sales, it's kind of like playing baseball. Like you're going to swing the bat a lot, you're going to miss quite a bit, right? It's just the way it is. But when you really hit that ball in baseball or when you really kind of connect with somebody, those experiences that you have with folks can kind of carry you through some of the good days and the bad days, and specifically the bad days. You just remember, boy, I remember this person. I remember that person. I remember this interaction. I remember how much I helped them. I'd love for you to tell the audience a story of somebody that and you can even do two if you'd like, but somebody that you've been able to help that has really kind of put a bright spot on your heart and made you realize this is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Say it was probably one of my good friends that I actually helped to coach and just to help her through some of the struggles that she went through. We kind of worked together, just making some plans for her, helping, inflammation in her body, helping to help her better, sleep and choose the right. And I don't know how to explain everything, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just helping her. And then I realized that, when you heal yourself, you heal the world around you. So I think that, all of what I'm learning and all, going through personally, if I'm healing through that, I can help others. So I can't think of any, just one particular. thing, I guess. It's just,
You're helping so many darn people out, you can't remember them all. I think that's really beautiful. How do you kind of, when again, I'll just bring it back to sales because I have some extensive experience there, but you really kind of know whenever you're connecting with somebody, when the kind of light bulb goes off for both of you to realize that now, you're not just two people that are just sort of randomly finding each other, but now you actually have this closeness built up. How do you kind of break the barriers to these women to kind of get them to tell you truthfully what's happening rather than kind of beat around the bush as far as what's going on? That has to be something that's challenging because it's challenging for everyone to really find those strong connections. How do you try to set the stage to make sure that you can get them to feel safe, that you can get them to speak honestly and really kind of let you know what's going on so that you can set something up to help them?
yeah. I think just providing that space and just being there to listen, because often, you know, people don't have someone to go to just to listen to their whole story without trying to fix them or to interrupt, just to listen and let them talk. And then just ask those curious questions to help them go a little bit deeper and then just to open up. And before you know it, they're like, wow, I can't believe I told you all of that stuff, about them. And yeah, I guess just to ask questions and just to be there and just be curious for them, help them to explore their strengths and look back to see what may have gotten through some of their hardest times,
Okay.
and to help them to realize that they really are truly strong.
But I guess maybe I'm looking for help for myself.
Okay.
How do you create that safe space for people? You're talking to people like we're talking right now. We're
Yeah.
talking in a very similar format. We use a different platform and it's called Riverside FM and stuff like that. But Google Meets and Zoom and everything. It looks like this when you're talking to folks.
Yeah.
How do you make sure you set the stage just so they feel safe, so they feel comfortable? What is it what sort of advice can you give to folks to be able to do so to help them out in their endeavors?
So are you asking like how I would make them feel comfortable and feel
Yes.
safe? Okay.
Yes.
So I guess just I guess listening and just being myself. I don't know how to answer that.
Good. I threw you for a curveball. I always try to stumble you a little bit, but I think I think actually what you're saying is really wonderful, right? Like, as I train people throughout my life, I would always tell them, we can do this together and you can see how I do it. But ultimately, I want you to pick up on some things I'm doing. But ultimately, I want you, Kim, to do it your way. And then we can kind of talk about and tweak and try to figure out the best way. But when you're authentic and you're honest and you're caring and you're empathetic and you're compassionate and all these things that you must naturally exhibit by being in the field that you've chosen to be in, Kim, it's probably pretty easy for you to establish that. You probably do it without even thinking about it and make people feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I believe that, each person is the author of their own story,
Yes,
and they make their choices. And, sometimes they don't always make the right choices, but we can always learn through things.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Is there anything more that you'd like to share about the business before we get out of here? I mean, I don't want you to, I want people to get to know you as best as possible. Is there anything else that you wanted to say that you forgot to say along the way?
And not that I can think of.
Well, I want to thank you again. I can remember 17-year-old Joseph Michael Weisman sitting in a hospital bed, looking at my leg, thinking to myself, what in the world's happened to me? And it was the first catastrophic thing that ever happened to me in my life and stuff. And it was pretty serious. But I can remember Nurse Angela, and I can remember Dr. Reese in particular, those two individuals from 30 plus years ago and the smiles they put on my face then. And I'm sure you have plenty of Joseph Michael Weismans out there, Kim, that you're the example that I'm giving for other people. So I really want to thank you. Thank you for spending time with us today. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for making me feel safe and comfortable to talk to you. I can see why people logically want to come to you and talk to you and share things with you. So thank you so much for spending time with us today, Kim. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
You got it. You have a great day, okay?
Thanks, you too.
You got it.